Hi, it's Dr. Kate Walker, and I'm here to talk to you today about Standard Operating Procedures, or SOP. Now, if you are new to private practice or even new to business, these may be unique terms for you today, new terms, and it's actually something I'm used to because my husband's in the military, so he's been talking about SOPs for a long, long time. But I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways SOPs can help you in your private practice. And because this month we are in August of 2022, I'm focusing on hiring, helping you guys if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're like doing all the things and you're ready to hire out. SOPs might be just the ticket for you. So you're going to get 3 things today. You're going to understand how SOPs can help create a culture in your practice. You're going to understand how before you give an SOP or hire somebody, you have to learn the job well enough to create the SOP. And then finally, we're going to see how SOPs can actually help you hire the best candidate for a job, whether it's for your front office staff or for a new therapist. All right, so let's get going. All right, standard operating procedures and culture. So what is culture? If you were watching my emails, one of the things I posted this week was a link to a salon video. Hair salons, they've got it going on. When they want to hire folks, they create these videos, and it's high energy music and testimonials from the chair owners who are talking about why they wanted to come and work for that particular salon because the energy or the opportunity or what it did for their career. And what it does is it creates a positive peer pressure. So anyone who's brought on board at that salon understands what's expected, and the peer pressure surrounding that person is going to be one that's creating positive energy, not sort of that everybody around the water cooler complaining. So onboarding is one way standard operating procedures are worked into the culture of a business. Last time I talked to you guys, I talked about how policy and procedures are another way standard operating procedures are incorporated into your practice to create a culture. So for example, in my practice, we always, when we come in a room, we fluff the pillows, we turn on the lights, we put our stuff down, and then when we leave a room or leave an office, we make sure that we put everything back the way we found it, turn the lights off, lock the door. Well, that's a standard operating procedure, but it also creates a culture, an expectation. Everybody in the business, everybody in your practice understands and has been trained to follow the same standard operating procedures. Everything from handling protected health information to the progressive discipline plan, which you've seen the video on that. If you haven't, run over to my YouTube channel and click on the 2-minute video about a progressive discipline plan, and even handling time off. If you have a therapist that you've hired and you know that they want to take off next week because they're going out of town, they know exactly the policy and procedures to follow to make sure their clients are taken care of, that the front office staff isn't caught by surprise, and everything continues to run smoothly. So standard operating procedures, creating a culture in your business or in your practice, now that makes it so much easier when you're hiring someone to be able to communicate clearly exactly what you expect. I mean, compare that to like a mission statement. I mean, everybody, had a mission statement back in the day, or a tagline, or a motto, or something like that, live, laugh, love. What does that even mean? But when you have standard operating procedures that are ingrained into the culture of your practice, and you're able to communicate that through your policy and procedures manual and your orientation, and maybe even, create a video. Let your new hires understand the energy in your practice, the camaraderie, the expectation of excellence. That's something that can really, really change your practice for the better and make it easier to hire and fire someone. The second way standard operating procedures help in hiring and keeping good people is it forces you to learn the job. You can't, and I know we've all done this, you hire for a job, so social media marketing. Well, you hire it out, but you don't understand the metrics. You don't understand what's better, engagement or the number of views or the number of impressions or the number of clicks, or how does that relate to click-through ratio with Google. If you haven't done your homework and you're hiring someone and their expertise is supposed to increase your income and you haven't learned the job, it's going to be really, really hard to tell if they're doing a good job or a bad job. And then if something happens and they're not communicating with you or they're not really participating in the process, it may be because they really don't feel like they were trained or that they know what better looks like, right? It's hard to do a job when you can just kind of throw anything out there and the boss is like, great, you got it in on time. They don't feel like their job is important if you're not able to pat them on the back for increasing sales, increasing engagement. So standard operating procedures force you to take the time to understand the job that you're going to hire out. So I've made some notes here. Let's say, for example, I don't know, answering the phones. Are you just going to hire someone who says, hi, welcome to Joe's Counseling Shack. How can I help you today? I mean, that's great. It's positive, it's polite, but it doesn't really let you know if your front office person is driving clients to a particular therapist. It doesn't really help the client know what is available. And maybe your front office staff could actually drive your conversion rate if they knew the right questions to ask, if they knew the right things to say. And I talk a lot about this in How to Bring in Therapy Clients, the conversion call that books a client. I talk about that in my YouTube video and in my blog about how this is something that's teachable. And it's also a great way to position yourself as an expert in the community. Well, if you're just going to hire someone to answer the phones but not train them, and you're just saying, well, yeah, good job, you showed up on time today. Good job, you answered the phone a lot, right? I mean, this is when we get into the terms KPI, key performance indicator. We talk about deliverables, right? If you're going to, let's say, give your front office person an evaluation on how well they're doing, I mean, the only thing I'm hearing is, okay, showing up on time, answering the phone. That's two things, right? What if you train them and you're able to see that they connect with 10 people every single day, and out of those 10 people, 3 of them book a session with one of your therapists? That's a 30% conversion rate. That's amazing. If you could get that to 50%, what if your marketing person can help drive even more phone calls? Right now you're getting 20 phone calls a day. Your front office person, she's still only answering 10 calls. That's not good. Now one of your key performance indicators, which is calls answered, is going down. And you can evaluate your front office person because you can say, hey, look, if the marketing person sends you 20 calls, you've got to answer 20 calls. Your conversion rate's amazing, but you have to keep up and connect with every single call. Right now you know how to evaluate your front office person because you have standard operating procedures for answering the phone that include key performance indicators and deliverables. Now, let's take it up a notch. What about your W-2 therapist, or let's even say your 1099 therapist, right? If you show them in the orientation, they are expected to maintain a caseload of at least 10 direct hours every week at this rate, and you teach them standard operating procedures for marketing, for communicating, for getting out in the community, for networking, and they're not delivering on their 10 direct hours a week, right? Now they're not following through. You have a way to evaluate them. You have a way to let them go if they're not meeting your expectations, right? So you must learn the job and write out every step that you want this person you're about to hire to do And then you have to define what success is. And like I said, you could keep it super simple, like, oh, you showed up, whoop, right? Or you could start thinking about your business and what indicates success for you, right? You're the business owner. If you just want people who show up on time but don't earn you any money, all right, well, that's, you could do better, right? So let's think of standard operating procedures as a means for, we've talked about creating a culture. We've talked about a way to help you learn the job so you can help the person you hire do well out all the time and understand if they get a bad evaluation, why that is. You're defining success. So the third thing I want to talk about, and this is my favorite, using standard operating procedures to hire the best candidate. Now, in my emails this week, and if you're watching this on replay, you may have to go dig through your spam box a little bit, I gave you a link to a blog. It was written by Ramit Sethi on Tim Ferriss's blog. They work together a lot. But what was so neat is he had an email template that he uses with his personal assistant. And he said, here's a good email template, here's a bad one. So for example, a bad one might be, hey, Joni, I need you to book a dentist appointment with me next week. Here's my insurance information. Well, Joni's going to say, okay, he's got Thursday at 2. Is that going to work? Oh, wait a second. He had to cancel, and now this is when he can get you in. But so I call those touches. So the first time out, that's 1 touch. The next communication, that's 2 touches. The next communication, that's 3 touches. And by 3 touches, I'm getting frustrated, right? And so what he has is he has a template where he, and I can't tell you from memory, but you'll have to go back and look at it. He talks about the way to construct an email with, and in my mind, these are standard operating procedures for the assistant to do her job the first time with 1 touch. Now, here's how we're going to do this for hiring. Imagine you want to hire an assistant. Well, have them book you a dentist appointment, right? Give them the exact same job with the same standard operating procedures and see which one can follow it with the fewest number of touches. And you can do this with lots of different tasks that you would use an assistant for, or a social media marketing person. Think of the task, how you would break it down into these standard operating procedures, deliver it to 2, even 3 people. I've used sites like Fiverr and Upwork, and I've talked about that before in our Thursday 30. I've talked about it on YouTube. I've talked about it everywhere because that's how I find great people to help me in my business. So, for example, when I wanted a transcriptionist, I sent the same document, or recording rather, to 3 different people, right? The person who could get back to me the quickest with exactly the type of transcript that I wanted, and who gave me little extras like timestamps, and they took out all the ahs and ums and they put it into paragraphs, or if it was an interview, maybe they put my name and the person's name that I was interviewing. That's the person that got the job. So whoever can follow my directions. Remember, go back to number 2. I have to know my job before I can delegate it out. So if the person who can follow my directions best wins. They get the job. So SOPs, standard operating procedures for creating a culture, for helping you learn the job before you delegate it out so you can define your deliverables and your KPIs, your key performance indicators. And then finally, to get the best person for the job. You give 2 people the same job and see who can do it in the fewest number of touches. Now, I really appreciate you guys watching this replay today. I am on the road, and that's why I'm having to do this pre-recorded training. But this is not the last time we are going to talk about standard operating procedures. So stay tuned this month. Ask lots of questions. Participate in the Q&A, the group coaching calls, and I will see you real soon. This is Kate Walker talking about standard operating procedures and hiring. Have a great day.